Hickok 45 here with an old A2 AR15. Kind of a dissipator. Let's dissipate something. First, let's spread some Clorox after we put a round in the chamber. I wanted to wash that watermelon before we shoot it. There we go. It's only the right thing to do, right? And let's go over there and hit a red plate on either side of that tree. Now I can see that red plate between, barely can see it. Tough to hit it though, right? How about a little bowling? Oh, he didn't fall. All right, oh, let's use a hostage. We got a hostage target. See that bowling pin? There's a plate in front of it, kind of. All right, went around it. How about a 2-liter? And another bowling pin. Let's look at this thing and I'll show you what I have, okay? Because I get to having too much fun, too much shooting, if there's such a thing. Let me empty them out here. Yeah, it's an A2. The lower is from my 6920, and the upper is A2 upper. This is actually, as you might have seen from the title, it's the California Highway Patrol carbine. Okay, this upper actually came, well, from Colt originally, made on special order for the CHP, California Highway Patrol, back in 2002, as I understand. Okay, this upper. They wanted this upper. They weren't like machine guns. They were just AR-15s. And as I understand from what I can find out, they came in maybe a couple, 3 different configurations as far as the lower, with a regular A2 stock. And then some people had bought them on the surplus market, and they had collapsible stocks and different things, maybe even a different lower. I guess most of them came with the law enforcement lower, because this was during the Clinton, the pre-ban, you know, or the ban. From which lasted from like 94 to 2004, and so these were 2002, and that's why, of course, it's for law enforcement. So you know, the bayonet lug and everything, and so you got all that, things that the civilians were not able to get, at least the new ones, right, at that time. So, and of course, you notice the most outstanding feature is it's the kind of the dissipator style, isn't it? Which means it's the longer grip, and you got the long sight radius, even though it's a carbine length. It's a carbine, yeah. And here's a carbine here. Now, I will refer you to our video on the Wyndham weaponry, the first one. I'll link to it, okay? Because at about, what is it, around 10 minutes or something, I go into pretty much depth on the dissipator. If you have never seen that, because it's the Wyndham weaponry version of it, the dissipator. And these are both carbines. Well, I got, yeah, let's put the stock back out on this one, okay? They're both carbines, about the same length and everything. But, you know, quite a difference in the handguard, right? And I'll just give you a quick, for those who don't know yet, because all of you are going to go back to that video and watch it, right? So what you have here, as you can see, you got about the same length on the barrels, but the sight is further out on the California Highway Patrol model. Okay, so you get a longer sight radius, which is kind of nice, and much more to hang on to. For the times, it was a great idea, I thought. Now, why didn't people do that sooner? Again, just briefly, you know, you've got your gas block built as part of your sight on an AR-15, or it was for years, you know, decades. That's your gas block and your sight. All right, so you got a hole in the barrel for new shooters, new people, and it vents gas from the barrel, actually a hole in the barrel. It vents up through this gas tube all the way back, and that's what pushes back the bolt carrier and bolt. Okay, that's how it operates, like a lot of rifles do, okay, gas operated. All right, direct impingement on these, but you got gas funneled back to operate it. So it's just part of the front sight. That's just part of it. Well, back in the early days, you know, they didn't really, I don't know what the date was, some of y'all will know, when they first started making like a low profile gas block, and they could actually put one under the hand guard And that way you could put the gas block anywhere you wanted, and you could have a carbine length gas system and still have a longer handguard. And that's what you get with the Dissipator. So, for example, this sight is not the gas block, okay? So kind of broke tradition. So it's a sight just like that one. See, it's got the bayonet lug on it and everything, same sight. But this one is not the gas block. The hole in the barrel that ports the gas is not out here. It's back here. Well, you're about in line with this. You can even, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but yeah, it's right in there, okay? And because it needs to be a certain length, as I explained in that other video, what the problem, they have, you can't just take a 20-inch AR15 and whack off the end of the barrel and have a Dissipator style gun. You can, and it's been done, but you often sacrifice reliability because you don't have as much dwell time. There's not as much space between the muzzle, which is the end of the barrel where the bullet comes out, not as much distance between that and the hole in the barrel, you know, where the gas block is. You need a certain amount of distance for that to work right, okay? And, you know, have enough energy to push the bolt and carry your back, all right? And they experimented with that, and they've figured out, I think, you can, if you get the hole just right and just the right size, it can be reliable and all that. But you're good, you know, with a carbine length gas system. I think carbine length gas system is one of the most reliable, then even more so than maybe the mid-length and all that. A little more aggressive perhaps and all that. Not as smooth maybe, but it works. So that's the difference, okay? Gas block and the vent is in the same place basically. It's just that you got a longer handguard and you just got the sight instead of the gas block in the sight. All right, now I'll give you a quiz on that later. So that's why I brought out the SP1, okay, that I got from John recently. I like that rifle. It's lighter than this one. This is an H-bar, yeah. So again, in about 2002, the California Highway Patrol put in an order for these, and it's an H-bar, heavy barrel, and the Dissipator style. But now Dissipator, as I understand, is a Bushmaster word, trademark or whatever. They're the ones that called it the Dissipator, but I guess we all kind of call it Dissipator style. And that's what they were. Pretty good choice, I would say. Pretty good choice. I've always liked them, as I talk about in that Wyndham Weaponry video. I would have it out here. Actually, once I bought this from John found this somewhere, and I liked it and bought it from him after I bought it from him and put it on this lower and everything. Hey, I kind of like that. And that, you know, the handguard is built in. It's an A2, and my Wyndham Weaponry is fine, but you know, it's a detachable handguard. I kind of like this. It's more natural and older, classic. And I traded my Wyndham Weaponry. I'm sorry, Wyndham Weaponry, if you're watching, but I traded it for actually a German Luger, believe it or not, which we've not shown you yet, at a gun show, I don't know, a couple of months ago or something. But a nice configuration, and it's interesting. They were kind of a secret. A lot of people, even people who follow this more so than I do, would have told you, I don't know, in the year 2000, Colt's never made a Dissipator, or 2002, I guess they hadn't until then, or 2004 or 2005. There probably were arguments about it because I guess they weren't really seen that much by the public. So it wasn't really until about 2013 that when the California Highway Patrol went to SIG, a different rifle, and so they put these on the market through a couple of distributors. And so once they started showing up, you know, then people say, hey, I just bought I think Gander Mountain was one of the places, and I just bought a, you know, Dissipator made by Colt. And then other people would give them a hard time. No, you didn't. Colt never made one of those. And come to find out, well, guess they did. So I guess they were carried, I don't know, about 10 years or so by the Highway Patrol in California, which is a large organization because, newsflash, California is a big state, larger than many countries, right? So let's shoot something else. Oh, another watermelon. Woo, nice. Oh, but I need to do a little more bowling, I think, too. 2, 2, 3. Nice. Let's hit a red plate again. I missed. And I knew when I pulled the trigger that I was going to miss. Have you ever done that before? I'll shoot some more. But, so again, these were kind of a secret to a lot of people, because a lot of folks just were not aware Colt ever made this configuration. And in today's world, as I point out, I think in the Wyndham weaponry video, this is kind of weird. It's like, well, why would you want that? What? How about just get a gun, like all of them that are at your local gun shop right now or online, with a rail, and where the sight is wherever you put it, and it's not a, it's just not a big deal. So, but you got to think back into the 1990s, early 2000s. This was a big deal. See, I grew up with these, so I went through all these different transitions and generations and styles of AR. I was really more into handguns, even though I bought one in '84, of course, and bought one in 1990s. I bought a couple and all that. But I wasn't as knowledgeable or as into them. I didn't follow it quite as closely. I just knew the Clinton gun ban, or the crime bill, put a monkey wrench in a lot of it. But so even though I lived through it, and I was prowling gun shops and collecting guns and shooting all through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, up to today, if I'd been more into AR-15s, as some of you all are, I could, written a book about it, my own experiences and what I saw in every shop, and I would have studied it more closely. But I did tell you in that other video, I had really wanted a Dissipator upper from Bushmasters. That's all that you could made them at the time, back in the 1990s, and they were pretty pricey to buy one, I remember, and I just never did get it. But for me, at my size, it just made so much sense. It's like my big old A tube. When I pick that thing up, you got all that room, real estate for your hand, and it just feels great. But yet you still have a carbine length. So you're going to ask, right? You're asking, what's the advantage of all this? Well, you still have a carbine length, a short firearm, 16-inch barrel, but yet it feels like, like a big one. You got plenty of room for your hand, and it was like there's no downside to it as long as it's reliable. So what else was I going to tell you? So yeah, the California Highway Patrol, and probably not a lot of people watching that just absolutely hate the police, but we all hate it when we get a cop with an attitude. It's happened to me a couple of times. By and large, they're good folks, just like you and me, doing their job and everything. And whether you're aware of it or not, a lot of the firearms history and lore, comes from various police organizations, whether it's the Texas Rangers or the California Highway Patrol, the FBI and all that sort of thing. You may have a beef with some of them, but the firearms they choose, why do they have a certain romance? Sometimes, maybe a strong word, but sometimes, what Skeeter Skelton carried as a border patrolman, or the people, the California Highway Patrol, the Texas Rangers, the FBI, the DEA, whatever, because they're facing, they're the cowboys, cowgirls. They're out there facing danger every day. And so historically, whatever they're carrying, a lot of us, unless you're an operator, and some of you may be or have been, we carry a gun maybe for self-defense, but most of us have not been in a lot of gunfights. We don't drive to the trouble. We walk away from the trouble. That's what we should be doing, generally. But if you're in law enforcement being kind, you're going to where the trouble is. And so the firearms and the gear that they find and that they choose as being most useful, most practical, it's just interesting. Whether it's the Navy SEALs, or, whoever it might be, your local county, your county sheriff's department, what they carry, in their squad car, it's just kind of interesting, okay? So, and California Patrol, Highway Patrol are famous for being out there on their own a lot, and of course, having something in the car in case things turn really bad that can be effective, is pretty important. So anyway, this is what they had. Don't know what they have now. You might be one, and you could tell us. So if you live in California, or you're a former CHP or something, tell us what you know. I learned a lot when we did the Model 65 Smith & Wesson videos. I heard from a couple of different people that were in the DEA and wrote, and when they carried and used that revolver and just different things. So I learned a lot from you folks out there watching. I need to learn a lot, don't I? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, CHP, pretty cool. The one reason it's cool too is I just like the configuration, and I think a lot of people have kind of found a interest, a newly invigorated interest in these old classic AR-15s and things. They're just neat. Oh, one thing I was going to show you too. Now, one thing you lose now, these sights, you know, they had the bayonet lug on them. Wherever it is, the bayonet lug's on it. Now, if I brought my A2 out here with the 20-inch barrel, I could put this bayonet on it. It'd be fine. It'd be out there about like that. Of course, you know, proper placement for a bayonet. On this, make sure we're clear. Don't be messing around the end of the barrel there, do we? Yep. You see, the bayonet is not extremely useful on this firearm. We can bring it down here, and I mean, it's just not going to work, right? It's not going to work. So, sorry. This one too, really. This is a carbine, and you got your your gas block need to be right here, and so that's where your sight and your bayonet lug is. So if we put it on here, we also have a problem, don't we? This one, it goes back, and it's made in the 80s, but it's designed from the 60s, 70s. So you see, that would not be ideal either. So the bottom of the moral of that story is neither one of these rifles would be very good for deer hunting, because you just couldn't get your bayonet on there. You somehow had to field dress the deer another way, I guess. This is the bolt that came in this, okay, for those that really know bolts. And they call it, I think, like a half moon. It's been cut, looks like, but it is a Colt carrier, everything. And I just, since I put my 6920 lower on this, which is just a great configuration because it has a nice trigger, I got a good stock on it, and so I just put the same bolt, use it. And this is really one of my favorite old school AR-15, maybe my favorite. Well, the old A2 will always be special, but this is pretty cool. If I had to go to battle with a classic AR tomorrow, this would probably be it. Okay. As you all know too, I don't hang a lot of stuff on my ARs usually. I've got a light on one, but I don't hang a lot of things on them. So this is not as annoying to me as it might be to some of you. This old school rail. It just feels good too. So can I shoot it again? Is that all right? All right, and y'all be letting me know if you have any more questions. Got the old school mags out and everything. All right, take a couple more shots. Then I'm gonna run y'all off. Gotta finish off the 2 liters. Nice. How about that propane tank? Red plates. Boom, last round. Nice. Smells good. I'm really sick. Smells good. So anyway, the CHP from around 2002, 2013, I guess. Again, if you are one or have been one, were one, let us know. Is this what you had in your car, your squad car, your motorcycle, whatever it was? Because I think it's a pretty good choice for the times. Not bad. So it's kind of neat to have this old upper, and it seems like new almost. And so I'm glad that John found it somewhere, and then I bought it from him because he got another kind of an A2 upper, I think an H bar and different things. So he didn't need it, and I did need it. So California Highway Patrol carbine is what it was called, I think. And again, it is, obviously it's the Dissipator style, even though that's a Bushmaster term, as I understand. So it's pretty cool. And I've seen comments on forums, and I didn't find articles on this. There may be some out there. I just found a lot of discussions about it, that people who had them, they knew people who had them, and just a smattering of information here and there. I gleaned from reading comments more than anything in various forums about it, but I didn't find any really authoritative articles on it. that anybody had done a lot of research that maybe was with the California Highway Patrol or anything, you may be aware of something. But if you are, let me know. It's pretty cool. I'm glad to have it. And I know it's an evil rifle, but I don't care. Life is good.
Tired. It's a long walk from where I had to shoot that. Oh man. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. Since you're here, I want to let you know about our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. TalonGunGrips.com. Check out everything they have over there. You can get lots of different grips, the stick-on grip textures for your handguns and rifle grips, so go check them out. Also Ballistol, they're a firearms lubricant or anything else you might need lubricating. It's water soluble and non-toxic. Been using it on the compound and cleaning all of our guns. It's a cleaner and a lube for over 10 years. So Ballistol, Talon Grips, definitely check both of those companies out. And also, while you're on the internet, don't forget to go to Hickok45.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Hickok45, Twitter, Hickok45, Instagram, The Real Hickok45, and also I have an Instagram page where I post behind the scenes stuff and different things like that. John, JOHN_HICKOK45 on Instagram. And the next thing you have to do is watch more videos.